Alright, so these are going to be a couple videos that are going to help you sort through how we do these constructions. And so the biggest thing about this is that I want you all to understand is that I'd like you to do this with your compass. Like, you shouldn't be using just like a straight edge and kind of eyeballing this, because you definitely could do that. The whole idea is that this is a cool activity to do in your classroom with your students, to be able to help them see how actual formal proofs are formed. It's great with dexterity and so forth. So I have just a basic compass like this. This is a little bit nicer. It's got like a locking device, so I can like open it up and then lock it in place. So I got that little locking device right there. I don't know how much this cost. The ones I recommended online on the assignment worked really well too. So what you do in this case is that you start off and you say, to be able to draw a perpendicular bisector, we would do this process. So you place the compass on point A, and so we would come here and we'd place the compass on point A, and we adjust the radius so it's just more than 1/2 the length. So in this case here, we would just go ahead and adjust it down so that it matched up with theirs. Perfect. And then we draw two arcs. So the best way to draw an arc is to not push the compass, but to drag the compass. And I'll demonstrate this in a minute. Go on the other side. And then we would switch and we would do the same thing. We'd come down here and we're kind of practicing this one. So we're using this one to kind of guide us. So we would drag the arch. We would drag the arch. And what do I mean by dragging versus pushing? If I did it like this, this would be pushing. So I'm pushing the pencil up the paper. That's a little more awkward. If we drag it, then we're just leaning the compass the way we want to go and dragging it up the paper. Then we keep the same measurement, the same radius. We go to B and we do the same thing. So these lines are a little bit off, but that's okay. Let's see if I can't figure out why that happened. So we're in the center of A, and we drag, and it looks like we're matched up pretty, center of A, and we drag, looks pretty good. Center of A, we drag, looks pretty good. Then we come over to B, let's make sure I'm in the center of B. That looks pretty good. And now I drag it, and I get that looks a little bit better. Still not great, but all right. So at this point, then it says using a straight edge, draw a line xy. So we would grab our pencil, and we would come here and we would connect those intersection points. So we would use our straight edge to connect those intersecting points, like so, and then we end up with our final product right there. So that's how we create a perpendicular bisector of a segment. So what you would do is, after walking through that and kind of practicing it, you come down here and do the same thing. So you would follow the first direction is you would set your compass on one point. You would go a little bit more than halfway, and then you would drag an arch and drag an arc. Excuse me. Sorry about that. You can't see that. There we go. So I drag both those arcs. Now I'd set it on H, and I would drag the arc so it intersects, drag the arc so it intersects. So I've done step 1, 2, and 3. And then I grab my ruler, I come down here, or my straight edge, excuse me. I come down here, I line up my two intersections, and I draw my line coming through. And now I have a perpendicular bisector. This guy right here has cut this guy in half. So if I measure this, right there from 0 to that is 2.2 1/4, and so that means that 1 1/8 would be halfway, and there we are. It's perfect. If we measure as a perpendicular bisector and we line those guys up, you can see that I have this perfect perpendicular line right there, and then you'd practice again on the next one. So that would continue on, and according to my directions, you would go and you would practice. I like to practice on top of this when I do this with my students. So I practice here, and then they practice with the directions, and then you practice too to get those perpendicular bisectors with the arcs, excuse me. And then you have a perpendicular through a point on the line, and so you've got a different set of rules. So you follow the rules, practicing doing it here, and then you come down. You have 2 to do here. Same thing, perpendicular. So you practice your way down here, following the rules, follow the rules, and then you try to reproduce it over here. And then we roll on. And on this one, same thing. We'd follow along, practice. Don't just like look at it. Like actually put your compass on there and do what they say. So using a straight edge, draw a line. So you got your line through point P. So we do that, you know, and you go through and do the process. And then you can on here and try to recreate with your point and line. Example 5 or type 5, do angle bisector. So you work your way through this, put your compass on there, draw things out, make it happen. Come down here and practice it twice. And then I think we have one more. So congruent angles, so being able to copy an angle essentially. So you've given an angle using a line segment to create a second angle. So you'll take your compass, follow the rules, draw it out, come down here and practice it not once but twice. All right, and then this is the actual graded part right here. So this is the part that I'm going to look at for cleanliness, thoroughness, accuracy. So taking your time, make sure things are nice and pretty, make sure your lines are straight, make sure everything's precise. Remember, I want to see the arcs swung on your paper. If I can tell that all you really did was just take your compass and just draw something, take your straight edge and draw it to get that, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for you to follow like they have here, where I'm going to see these arcs that create our intersections that allow us to make the copy of the angles or whatever it is. So then you complete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right. If you have any questions along the way about a certain construction, you want to see me work it through with a video, just let me know. Otherwise, this is your assignment for the week. So you need to go out and either pull your trusty compass and straight edge out of your nerd pocket that you have, or go to Walmart and pick one up, or find a friend that has a kid and maybe borrow theirs. But I think both of you are looking to be a high school teacher, so just go ahead and finding one to kind of keep in your repertoire like I have, or your toolbox, is a great idea. All right, hope this helps. Thanks so much, and enjoy this kind of down week. We will try to get back on track, and I'll make adjustments to the calendar as far as assignments and expectations.